There are 6 basic fears that all of us feel: fear of death of our family members or friends, fear of old age, fear of ill health, fear of poverty, and fear of criticism. So we may feel many other sort of kinds of fears, but if you try to understand them, these 6 are what they will boil down to. So, and in today's episode, we are going to talk about how to understand fear and how to deal with fear in 6 steps. What are the 6 in 6 steps? What can we do to handle or manage fear to our advantage? So, my name is Fayaz, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ecological Entrepreneurship podcast. And so, as I said, the 6 basic fears we feel are fear of death of our family members or friends, old age, ill health, poverty, or criticism. So, if you look at fear, anything that nature has created is created for a purpose, and for a good purpose, for a positive purpose. But it is the way that we use those things. If we overuse something, then it becomes a problem. It could be anything, be it food, be it water, be it air, be it, emotions, like even laughter can kill you. So, and that same is the case with fear. So fear has a very good purpose. Fear has a purpose of keeping us safe. It's an emotion we feel, and so that we pay attention to things, so that we are careful, and we make decisions, after careful consideration of pros and cons. जो खौफ का मकसद है, डर का जो मकसद है कुदरत में, वो ये है कि हम अपने जितने भी फैसले करें वो सोच समझ के करें. हम बिना सोचे समझे कोई कदम ना उठाए जिससे हमें नुकसान हो. तो हमें नुकसान से बचाने के लिए, हमें परेशानियों से बचाने के लिए डर रखा गया है. तो मगर अक्सर क्या हो जाता है, हम में वो ये काफ़ी चीज़ों की तरह डर का भी हम बहुत ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल करने लगते हैं. So given how we are brought up, given our upbringing, given our education, and given our the media exposure and how things are unfolding in the world, there are systems in place that keep us in fear, so that it sort of make us addicted to fear. So because those systems have a vested interest, there are vested interests that do that, and so that we are unable to use our human capacity to potential. We are unable to make the best use of this life, and we are unable to sort of be who we really are supposed to be. We're unable to be free. So to keep us enslaved, fear is a great tool in the hands of the vested interests. So, and part of the reason that they are successful is there's a bias in the brain. Human brain is designed to help us survive. And for survival, fear is a good emotion to use, so that we are careful, we make every decision carefully, and we prepare well. But this can be manipulated. Our brains can be manipulated by creating, conditions around us that keep us in fear all the time. Fear is an emotion that's supposed to be used occasionally, but unfortunately, given how we live, these days, and in our today's lifestyle, it's a constant thing that's with us all the time. So we're unable to sort of be who we should be, and we don't often do what we should be doing. We end up very often sacrificing creativity for security, and that's because of fear. But so it's essential for us to understand what fear is all about. Nature created fear to help us, to keep us safe, to uh, help us be careful. So that is number one. And number two, the second step to deal with fear is to have faith and use faith over fear. Fear fear and faith are sort of similar in a way. I would say two sides of a coin, so they're connected. So fear is very often something you don't know. It is unknown. You're afraid of something that you don't know. And faith is something you trust, that you don't see it yet, but you still trust it. And fear is you don't see it, but you are afraid of it. So you believe in something that is not known in both cases. So I would say, so where there is fear, we should also then give faith a chance and try to use faith over fear as often as possible. And so that way we can make progress, number one, in dealing with fear, and number two, in taking charge of our lives and making progress there. And another tool, number three, another tool you can use to help you deal with fear and overcome excessive fear is what we may call auto suggestions, or the self-talk, the things you tell yourself about yourself. So tell good things to yourself. We often have a negative sort of self-talk. We tell negative things to ourselves and sort of go in this loop of fear and negative self-talk. And so we should deliberately start telling ourselves internally in our head positive things, that I am strong, I'm courageous, I'm bold, I can do anything, I am powerful, I'm successful, I can learn new things, I can do new things, and the forces of nature are with me, things like that. So if you keep repeating those to yourself, it will help you over a period of time to overcome excessive fear. And number four, I would say, is every situation, understand this, every situation has two sides. Everything has two sides. There's a day and a night, and there's up and down, there's right and left. So every situation, howsoever difficult it is, howsoever big a problem it is, howsoever painful it is, has a positive end and a negative end. There's a positive and negative to every situation. So whenever you are feeling distressed or very fearful, or are in a problem, try to look for the positive end as well. Try to see, what am I learning from this? What is the lesson in this for me? This is something that has helped me personally quite a bit. In every situation I found myself, where I felt distressed or struggling, I would sort of calm myself down to see that this is going to by telling myself that this is going to make me stronger. This will end, and there's something positive that's going to come out of it, and that I would try to look for the lessons. So that is another thing that helps you deal with fear. And then the fifth point about how to deal with fear is to act despite fear. Practice acting despite fear. Practice, as I said earlier, faith. You know, so if you are afraid of something, pick smaller things or simpler things in the beginning. If you are afraid of something, try to, tease it, try to do it, try to deal with it, in smaller steps. And then, once you are able to do that, and you see the fear didn't really play out and everything, it was okay, you will gain confidence and you will start uh, getting better at it, and you can deal with bigger fears as well. So, and number 6 is another sort of a little tool. uh, when you are in a situation, or if there's a situation that is coming up in the future that you are going to need to deal with, and you're afraid of it. So how do you neutralize that fear of it? Is, there are these 4 steps. Number 1, think of what's the worst that can happen. What's the worst that can happen? The thing that you are afraid of, or the situation that you are afraid of, think what is the worst that can happen. And then how can you neutralize it? How can you neutralize it? How can you neutralize at least parts of it? Number 1 is what's the worst that can happen. Number 2 is how can you neutralize it, or the parts of it. Number 3 is there anybody you can ask for help? Who can help you, or what can help you? And number 4 is how can you prepare? What are the things that can help you deal with it by preparing in advance for it? Is there something you need to learn? Is there something you need to, is there some knowledge you need to acquire? Is there a skill you need to learn? And is there something you need to practice? So try these 4 steps, and you will feel immediately better about the situation, or dealing with that situation, or doing that thing that you are afraid of. So again, thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope you got some value about dealing with fear. And as always, I would love to hear your comments and thoughts. So please share and subscribe and help spread the word. And I look forward to the next episode.